it's your girl at the Fab Life of Dree here. I'm about to do an exclusive interview, so come along, follow me.
Just like then, another lame ain't shit.
Alright guys, I'm VIP and I'm coming in, and that is a wrap.
1, 2. Yeah. Turn me up in the headphone. Yep.
I'm out of here in YouTube.
They be talking like I won't give it to any nigga. I will spit a verse and a half that on these niggas. I will spit you crying like I'm a killer's nigga. 1 time let it slide, 2 times niggas die. Damn God, where you from? East side, 2 or 3 on my back. I don't break, I don't slack. Paid homage and I paid dues. Bought a future, no tax.
Alright guys, you already know who it is. It's your girl at the Fab Life of Dree on Twitter and Instagram. My YouTube is Dree Janice. I do have a special friend with me today. I have brought my little pup Bentley with me. He's gonna be my co-host for this evening. We are in Stamford, Connecticut, right? We're at, let's see, can you zoom in over there? Magic Sound Studios. So I am humbled and honored and blessed to be invited to this like amazing creative space. I mean, the energy just feels so like clear and crystal. I feel good vibes, I feel good energy. So I'm ready to get down to the nitty-gritty. Let me please stop babbling, and I want to introduce my special guest that decided to have me come pull up on him. And can you give all your social medias and all your affiliations?
Well, Furious Styles, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, everything is F Styles, spelled STYLESZ. Yeah, that's pretty much everything.
Perfect. So obviously we're here, we're in like, I feel like we're in ground zero for your artistic like creativity. So can you walk me through your process when you enter this studio right here?
When I come here, the first thing I do is I'm chopping it up with my man's Murder over here.
Shout out to Murder, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Before we do anything, we mostly just chop it up and see what we've been up to, have real conversations. Like, just being my brother since he was like in elementary school. So.
Nice.
But once that started, we gotta find the beat, whatever, then record.
Perfect. So when you first hear a beat, do you kind of sit with it for a few days? I know some artists like really want to take their time, or is it just kind of instant, like you create like an instant vibe or an instant hook? Like do you start with the hook, do you start with the melody? What's that process like?
It really depends on like how I feel about the beat. Like if it's a beat that just catches me automatically, then I'll just start coming up with stuff. It depends on what I'm going for with the song. If I'm trying to make something that's more like catchy or something like that, I might start with the hook first.
Gotcha.
But if I'm more like just introspective and I'm just talking my talk, I just go right into a verse.
Okay, so can you tell me about the difference between writing a song that's, I guess, geared toward having like that radio sound or being clean enough for radio? How do you separate that process when you're in the studio, rather than just creating like an organic piece of music maybe that isn't necessarily radio friendly? Can you tell me about that separation?
If I'm trying to do like a more radio sounding song, I'm trying to focus on like a catchy hook or something that's not like too over the top lyrically, stuff like that, just something that'll catch the people. But if I'm just writing a song, I come from like that lyrical background. Like my favorite rappers is my top 5: Jadakiss, Jay-Z, DMX, Jeezy, Snoop Dogg, and my 6th man is always Stack Bundle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. So what was your first experience like in the studio? A lot of people don't realize how intimidating it is to kind of get up there and just like it's really exposing yourself. I feel like when you're an artist, you're exposing your heart, your mind, your thoughts. So can you walk me through how that first process went for you, and how old were you when you had your first studio experience?
My first studio experience, I might have been like 16 or 17. It was out in Bridgeport. Me and my cousin used to be in a group back in the day, and some guy from our school like tried to like diss us or something like that.
Wow.
Because we used to just like do like freestyle videos and post them on MySpace.
Okay.
And so it was like, nah, we gotta find a studio because he like really recorded a song type thing. So we found some guys in Bridgeport that used to just do stuff like that. And I mean, I guess the experience wasn't like great because they didn't really know what they were doing. We didn't really know, but we were just happy to be in the studio. So yeah.
Gotcha. So is this like kind of like the place where you, or is this like your comfort zone? That's like the question I'm trying to ask. When you come in here, do you start planning for your project, or how does it work? Is this the sole studio you use? Like your main like evil layer?
For the most part, this studio has been the studio I've used for most of the projects I've released in the past and stuff like that. As of recent, I've been more trying to do it at home and stuff like that, just to, you know, change up the vibe a little bit. But of course, I still always come here whenever I need help with like trying to work on a mix, or I need a fresh set of ears. I'll send it to my bro, and you know, he'll give me his feedback and stuff like that. So that's always home base for me.
So one thing I've noticed as a new fan, I've been listening to your content, I realized that you put a lot of effort into the quality of your music. So I just want to get into a brief discussion about, I guess, leveling up your artistry and having like solid mixing and solid engineering. And can you talk about how important that is to, like, I guess, expanding your market and like building your database? Because I feel like the fans notice that, like when you put in that extra effort.
Right. For a long time, it was just a thing of, I felt like you gotta evolve. So it's like, in this era, you gotta know how to do everything. You can't just be a rapper. You gotta know how to mix your stuff. You gotta know how to produce. You gotta know how to do all of these things. So with me, it was more, I went to school for audio engineering.
Oh, nice.
And, but after I did it, I kind of didn't really use it for maybe like the first year and a half.
If you don't mind me asking, where did you attend?
I enrolled in this program called Radio Recording and Film.
Nice.
And they set me up with a studio in Norwalk, Factory Underground. Shout out to Kenny Cash. So I went there. They taught me, you know, the basics of how to mix and master and stuff like that. After that, I moved to East Hartford. And, you know, I was going through like a real depressing stage in life. So I kind of like stepped away from music for about like a year and a half. And I just started getting back into it and started using what I learned in school. I would hit Murder up for help on mixing and stuff like that, and just started trying to really perfect my craft because, you know, I want to be great at it. So once I got back into it, I just been full speed ahead trying to learn everything I can.
You touched upon an important topic to me. Obviously, you faced some adversity and you overcame those experiences. As an artist, I think I encounter this more often than not. I feel like mental health is very prevalent within any creative space.
Definitely.
I feel like as creatives, you're always kind of like going back and forth and building up your confidence and believing in yourself. So I want you to give a brief message about, I guess, overcoming or strengthening your mental health and how important that is.
But before you do anything, your mental health got to be on point. So it's like, something that helped me out of it was, one, returning back to doing music. But also I met my girlfriend when I moved up there, and she definitely was part of the reason that got me back into doing music and got me back into doing things. Because she plays the violin in the orchestra and stuff like that.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that. Yeah. Guys, behind the scenes fact, I met his girlfriend. She is such a sweetheart. She held you down. I think my first time seeing you was at that showcase tour. Yeah. So shout out to you, baby girl.
But yeah, I met her, whatever, just being around her and stuff like that helped me get back into a better place. Everybody needs somebody. And I'm not saying to like put all your troubles on somebody.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, it's good to have people.
I have my amazing camera guy, Drew. behind the scenes taking all this wonderful footage. I will link his Instagram right up there. So we had to do a change of scenery. I am still here in Stamford, Connecticut with the homie Furious Stylesz. Obviously, we're in a different location. Can you let the viewers know where we are and why this place is significant to you?
Right now we're in front of my grandmother's house. That's where I grew up. I moved around a lot growing up, but this was always the home base. This house been in my family for like 60 years. It's just home.
Wow. So I want to get to know a little bit more about AJ. Obviously, I know Furious Stylesz, but right now, all your fans are going to get to know the real you. So growing up here, obviously, this was like a solid foundation for you. Would you describe your relationship with your family as like strong and like unified, or do you kind of just march to your own drum?
I grew up, family was always like a big thing. My grandparents had 12 kids.
Wow.
3 of them passed when they was babies, but I got a lot of cousins, I'm an only child, so growing up, I only had my cousins to like play with, stuff like that. Family always has been a big thing, that was instilled in us.
Okay, so I want to know, what was your best childhood memory here? What can you take us back?
There's so many memories here. Just always like holidays, still even to this day, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, everybody comes here. So just being around the family and catching up with cousins and people I haven't seen. Even it could just be a regular Tuesday and everybody will end up over here, just being around the family.
I love that. So obviously you mentioned you grew up with a lot of cousins. Do you have any crazy cousin fight stories?
Crazy. Honestly, with probably my cousin Toya, she's more like my big sister type stuff. She 6 years older than me, but Toya she was the bully. But it wasn't really just her being a bully, it was just, her not taking no nonsense. Like a lot of times my moms would be working 2 and 3 jobs and going to school, and Toya would be like babysitting me and stuff like that.
Shout out to your mom for that hustle.
Yeah.
Was your mom a single mom or no?
My father was around. Then they got a divorce when I was like in 2nd grade. They got remarried when I was like in 6th grade.
Wow.
But me and him, I don't really have a relationship with him like that. But she just always was a worker. Like even before I was born, I just heard stories always working, always trying to do it. And it's just like my grandparents the same way. They always just been hustlers. Like my grandfather, always owned businesses. It's just always been in my family.
Perfect. So I want to talk about, I guess, growing up and having male figures in your life. Obviously, you said your father was in your life. So do you notice that, I guess, life may be a little bit more structured and easier for you because you've had examples of strong male figures?
The strong male figures in my life, I usually credit that to my grandfather, my uncles. They definitely showed me how to take care of your family, how to be a provider, how to be a protector and stuff like that. So I definitely feel like that mixed with, like I said, my parents got divorced twice, stuff like that, and just seeing the kind of hurt my mom would go through, that kind of just taught me how to love a woman type. So certain things I don't like to perpetuate, the whole, I know with rappers, they think we got a bunch of different girls and side chicks, and that shit is corny because the rapper's not telling you about the shit that the wife is going through or how it's affecting the child, you feel me? So growing up, seeing that kind of pain that your mom and stuff is going through, you don't want to put that on nobody else, when you get older and stuff like that. So I definitely would say, getting back to the question, my uncles, my grandfather, they definitely was great role models.
So this podcast is called I Got a Story to Tell. So I really want to know your first story or your first experience with hip hop, and were you kind of in this area? Were you at this home when you first encountered your love for hip hop?
I can't even remember my first encounter with hip hop just because I grew up in it. Like I said, my pops was a DJ, so
Right.
just in the house, I would be hearing him play records, and a lot of people always used to try to make fun of me because I had like an old soul. So like when everybody was just listening to 50 Cent and all of that, of course I'm listening to all that shit too, but I'm the type I'll go back and throw on like some Dionne Warwick or
Wow,
like real
okay.
old school shit. Like I
Nice.
love old school music. So yeah.
Okay. So all the cookout vibes, I could definitely come to you for my
Definitely.
playlist. Okay, word.
I got a lot of title playlists. Hit me up. I got you.
Perfect. So you mentioned Kiss was your favorite like artist. I think he was number 1, right? Okay. So can you give me your top 5 Kiss songs?
Oh, my top 5 Kiss song. I can give you my top 5 Kiss verses.
Yeah. let's do
His verse on Nas Made You Look remix.
that. Okay.
His song All for the Love. Still Feel Me. By Your Side. And We Gonna Make It. Like that's the best opening to a song in the world.
I completely agree. We Gonna Make is one of my favorite songs. I still bump that to this day. Okay, so what do you hope to have, I guess, in the future in terms of your family dynamic, and how will you incorporate some of the values that your grandparents or other family members have taught you?
Well, I want a big family. I always said that it depends on like how successful I am, in the future. Like if I can afford to have a bunch of kids, I want a bunch of kids. And I just want to instill the being a close family unit is something that's important. I want to own my own businesses like my grandfather, because ownership is important. Like,
I agree.
I was raised very like pro-black, so I want to keep instilling that in my children: ownership, being a strong family.
Building generational wealth.
Right, definitely.
Perfect. I love that message. What if you could go back 10 years from now or 15 years and tell your younger self something while you're at this house or while you're, playing with your cousins, what would you tell your younger self?
To take advantage of the internet, because for a long time I've always been like a person that wasn't really into like social media, or like when YouTube first came out, I didn't really like see. I was just talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday. She was showing me something called Charlie the Unicorn on YouTube, and I was just like, that shit had like millions of views.
You said Charlie the Unicorn?
Charlie the Unicorn. My girl loved
gosh,
unicorns. So I was just like, I wish I would have known back then that people literally would watch like anything and just came up with content.
All you have to do is create like your niche market,
Right.
and just be consistent,
Exactly.
and you'll develop a fan base no matter what you do, whether
Right.
it's opening toys up or whatever
Exactly.
the case is. Yeah.
I just wish I would have got onto that earlier, because
Don't we all? We would have
Man.
been millionaires
Right.
now. So, I want to know. Well, first, I want to thank you for allowing me to come into your personal life, your personal home, and share some of your memories with you on camera. But I really want to know how did you get through, I guess, facing obstacles during your childhood? Because childhood is very tricky. Some things we internalize, and sometimes we hold on to certain things. So how did you, I guess, break that barrier and move forward and become this strong artist and strong young man that you are today?
honestly, like, this is all like new. Like, I'm still dealing with stuff. I'm still trying to break habits and unlearn certain things that I learned growing up. And but definitely music was always just something that I could lean on. Music don't never leave you. Music don't never judge you. It's just, you know, I wasn't making music for people to hear it, and, you know, I just wanted to make music. And being a rapper, I just felt like you could command a certain type of attention. Like, so once I started making the music and decided like I wanted to be like a God MC, that's where I got, the God from. I call myself. Just, I wanted to be the best at it. I wanted to excel at it. And once I found something that I could like put my focus into, that kind of like helped me stray away from all the other stuff.
Perfect. So, final question before I have you kind of take me on a little tour of your neighborhood. What was it like growing up around this area? Was there anything that kind of stuck with you? Was there anything that made you feel uncomfortable growing up? Or just tell me a little bit more about the environment. I mean, for a lot of people, they don't know too much about Stamford, Connecticut. Well, I'm uneducated, so can you break it down for me and break down the dynamics of Stamford?
Well, for the most part, I think a lot of people always just assume like it's a bunch of like rich white people in Stamford, when for the most part that's not really the case. Like, but growing up like in this particular section right here, it was always love. Like a lot of the people that lived on this street, like next door, they've been living next door to my grandparents since they were young. Like,
wow.
So
okay.
It's like a family dynamic. I feel like a lot of the people that used to live here kind of moved out, so it's a lot of new people over here. But like down the street, it's a family that reminds me of our family. They always got gatherings going on. It's Jamaican family down the street, and But Stamford as a whole, just growing up, I moved around a lot. Like I said, I've lived in Bridgeport, Norwalk, Fairfield.
So you've been around.
Yeah, like I lived everywhere. But being back home, right now we're on the east side. This is where, yeah. But I lived on the west at one point. I got family everywhere, so like I've been a lot of places. Like I hung out a lot of places. I got friends everywhere. So it's a large dynamic of people. It's a lot of black people here, a lot of Spanish people here. It's a great mixture of people. Like I feel like it's a great place to grow up because you get a little bit of everything.
Wow, I love that. It's like diverse and you get a taste of every single culture. So you kind of develop around not just having that one, familiar face you see or culture you see. You get to kind of expose yourself.
You get to learn everything.
I didn't know that. You would never know. So I want to thank you again for allowing me to come in this personal space. Let's wrap this up and let's do a little quick tour of your neighborhood, and maybe you can drop some gems on what's going on in this little scene over here. Alright guys, this is the last shot. I am wrapping up my visit to Stamford, Connecticut with the amazing, the incredible, the phenomenal, Furious Stylesz. He's gonna give me a behind the scenes tour of his neighborhood, where he grew up, and maybe give me like a few little funny stories about the street and the block.
Yeah,
so let's get started.
Okay. Well, like I said, this is my grandmother's house. I moved around a lot, so at one point I lived at the house over here.
Okay, so which one? 129, right over here?
With the all white. I lived on the 3rd floor, and one night I was coming home, walking up the stairs, and there was like a big ass raccoon looking down on the roof. I never walked through that front part of the stairs again.
Talk about traumatizing.
Yeah, that's to this day I don't mess with raccoons.
So would you be playing and like going, like riding your bike or meeting up with neighbors on this street?
Yeah, a lot of my friends when we was younger used to live over here that I met in middle school. Actually, I used to have a bike, a blue bike, and my friends used to like steal bikes and stuff.
Okay.
And so one day I came outside and the bike wasn't there. And maybe like a few months later, I saw my friend walking up the street with the bike.
Stop.
I'm like, yo, that's my bike. He was like, nah, no, it's not. I was like, bro, this is my bike. I dropped pizza when I was riding the bike one day, and the sauce was still stuck on the side. I'm like, bro, it's right there. Like, oh, I didn't know. Right. But yeah, he used to live in this house over here.
Okay. Wait, which one was that?
This brown house over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Back in the day.
Wow.
He also is a rapper in Little Kitty. Shout out to him.
Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said this was your home base. Do you have any like crazy stories with neighbors that you ever experienced or crazy times you experienced with them?
The only like crazy story I've ever had is my grandmother's next door neighbor. In the back, my grandfather has a garage, and he always used to like set it up. He has like a little pool table back there, you know, a little bar area and stuff like that. And but back in the day, before he turned it into that, he used to have a basketball ring in the back. And one day I was just out there shooting hoops, playing music, and the neighbor's wife came outside like, if you don't turn that music down, I'm gonna call the police. So I went in the house and told my grandmother. My grandmother came outside.
And it was a wrap.
Yeah.
She was playing no
I ain't hear nothing
games.
from that lady other than.
Okay, so were you raised up in like a church environment or?
Yeah, my family definitely was into church and stuff like that. When I was younger, I used to have to go all the time. Of course, I was a child. I hated it. But growing up, you know, I started getting away from it, stopped really going. But it always, you know, it instilled being spiritual and stuff into me. So I always loved that.
Perfect. All right, well, once again, I feel like I've thanked you maybe 4 times, but I really appreciate you inviting me down here. I had such an amazing time. I feel like I got to know both sides, Furious Stylesz and AJ. It's your girl at the Fab Life of Dree on Twitter and Instagram. I got my pup here, Bentley James Amos. Please give all your social medias for the last time.
Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Stylesz, FSTYLESZ. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Stylesz TV. I just dropped a video for My Crown is My Crown, so please go check that out.
Perfect. And I'm so excited that we wrapped this up, but I kind of don't want to leave. I'm kind of feeling the Stanford vibe. Shout out to Drew behind the camera, and that is a wrap.